So, hi guys, I'm back again and this is another video for Chapter 10 tutorial. I'm Mathew Javier, a Batangas State University student taking Bachelor of Science Information Technology. So first, what is an application layer? So an application layer such as web browsers, online gaming, chatting, and an email with friends enable us to receive data with relative ease. Typically, we can access and use this application without knowing how they work. However, for our network profession, it is important to know how an application is able to format, transmit, and interpret messages that are sent and received across the network. So, visualizing the mechanism that enable communication across the network is made easier if you use layered framework of the OSI model. So in this chapter, we will explore the role of application layer and how the application services and protocols within the application layer must robust communication across data network possible. So the next one is that application layer protocols or application presentation and session and how application protocols interact with end user application. So guys, first, what is an application layer? The application layer is closest to the end user. As shown on the figure in the chapter 10, there is a figure that it is the layer that provides the interface between the application used to communicate an underlying network over which messages are transmitted. Application layer protocols are used to exchange data between programs running on the source and destination host. The upper three layers of the OSI model is application, presentation, and session. So define functions of the single TCP/IP application layer. So there are many application layer that are protocols and new protocols are always being developed. Some of the most widely known application layer protocols include the Hypertext Transfer Protocol, HTTP, the FTP, and the TFTP, Internet Message Access Protocol or IMAP, and Domain Name System or DNS Protocol. So the next one is that presentation and session layer. So presentation layer is the presentation layer has three primary functions. It formats the presenting data of the source device into a compatible form for receipt by destination device. It is also compressing data in a way that can be decompressed by the destination device and encrypting data from transmission and decrypting data upon receipt. So the session layer, as the name implies, function as the session layer create and maintain dialogues between source and destination application. The session layer handles the exchange of information to initiate dialogues, keep them active, and restart sessions that are disrupted or idle for a long time. So the next one is the TCP and IP protocol. So TCP/IP application protocols specify the format and control information necessary for many common internet communication functions. Click on the some figure that we are in that chapter 10 and think about learn more about them. So application layer protocols are used by both the source and the destination devices during a communication session. For communications to be successful, the application layer protocols implemented and the source destination and must be compatible. So DNS translate domain names such as Cisco into IP address. BOOTP o Bootstrap Protocol UDP Client 68. DHCP dynamically assigns IP address to client to start up and allows the address to be reused when no longer needed. So the next is email. SMTP, Simple Mail Transfer Protocol, enables clients to send email to mail server and enables servers to send email to other servers. The POP or Post Office Protocol, it enables clients to retrieve email from mail server and downloads email from the mail server to the desktop. So IMAP or Internet Message Access Protocol enable clients to access email stored on a server mail and maintains email on the server. So in file transferring, so there are file transfer protocol that sets enable a user to one host to access to transfer files to and from another host over a network. A reliable connection oriented and acknowledge the file delivery protocol. So TFTP, Trivial File Transfer Protocol. So a simple connection file transfer protocol, a best effort knowledgeable file delivery protocol, utilize less overhead FTP. So web HTTP, so exchanging text, graph, image, sound, video, and multimedia files on the World Wide Web. And HTTPS, a hypertext transfer protocol, secure. Browse uses encryption to secure HTTP communication. Authenticates the server of which are connecting of the browsers. So that is all about application presentation and sessions. So client server on the how application protocols interact with the end users. So there are client servers model and peer-to-peer networks. There are also peer-to-peer actions, common P2P applications, and etc. and so on and so forth. So for client server model, in the client server model, the device requesting info is cloud client and the device corresponding to the request is a call server. And client and server process are considered to be in the application layer. The client begins exchange by requesting data and to the client. Application layer describe format of the most request response between client and servers. In addition, authenticate and the identification of data to be transferred. So there are also peer-to-peer networks, peer-to-peer applications, and common P2P applications. So the next one is well-known application layer protocols and services. So first, there are web and email protocols. So the hypertext protocol and hypertext markup language. So first, as shown in the figure in the chapter 10, there are first that interprets the three parts of the URL, which is the HTTP, the protocol or scheme, www.cisco.com, the server name, and index.html, the specific file name requested. So when a web address uniform resource of the locator of URL is typed into a web browser, the web browser establishes a connection web service running using HTTP and URLs and uniform resource identifier are the host name of people associated with web address. To better understand how the web and the web interacts, we can examine how web is opened in a browser. For this, there are examples. So there are HTTP and HTTPS, email protocols, or SMTP operation, POP operation, IMAP operation, and there are also domain name service. So in the domain name service, In data, network devices are enabled with a numeric IP address to send and receive data on networks. Domain names were created to convert numeric address into a simple recognizable name. So that is all about domain name service. So the next is file sharing services. So file transfer protocol. FTP is another commonly used application layer protocol. FTP was developed allowed to transfer between a client and a server. It is also an application that runs on a computer to push and pull data from FTP server. So as the figure is illustrates, the FTP requires two connection between the client and the server. So the first one is the client established the first connection to the server, control traffic using TCP port 21, consisting client commands and server replies. The next one is the client established the second connection to the server, the actual data transfer TCP port 20. This connection is created every time the data is transferred. So the data is transferred can happen in either direction. The client can be download full data from the server. The full can upload push data to the server. And there are also server message block and an example in I remember in chapter 10 there are also packet tracer activities in chapter 10. So next is thank you for watching and God bless to all of you. That's all and thank you.